All right. One of the most exciting aspects of living in Newport is, of course, the sailing aspect. And within that context, and even broadly, is the ocean race, formerly the Volvo Ocean Race. And joining us to Sail Newport's Brad Reed to kind of give us an overview of what's happening. And, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. It's the race has finally started. It's a slightly different schedule as the years pass, but Sail Newport, your public sailing center out here at Fort Adams, is thrilled to be able to be the co-host of the North American stopover of the 2023 Ocean Race. The event used to be called, as you said, the Volvo Ocean Race. Volvo trucks, construction equipment, cars all own the race. It's now owned by a management company based in Sweden by way of Alicante, Spain. And the race just started. It started on January 15th. And the boats have already done the first leg to Cabo Verde. And now the boats are well on their way down the Atlantic, now into the South Atlantic, on their way to Cape Town, South Africa. So lots of stuff going on to make sure that Newport and Sail Newport are ready for the race to get here in May. And I'm looking forward to talking to you about it today.
Yeah, one thing that jumps out from an article in Newport this week, which our viewers and listeners can and should read online, or of course in the paper itself, is that you describe hosting the race as one of your proudest moments. And you're quoted, "Thousands of people came to greet the fleet in the middle of the night and celebrated a true Rhode Island welcome." This is, what iteration of hosting it does that reflect? Because it's now, we've had how many times have we totally hosted this race in one way, shape, or form?
Yeah, well, we've hosted the race this will be the third time.
Right.
And when I'm trying to share my screen here and try to do it seamlessly, I'm not doing a good job.
There it is.
There we go. So, like you said, in 2015, when we hosted the first time, the boats came in around 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And we were just amazed how many people came out. We had well over 5,000 people who came down to the shores of Fort Adams State Park. I always kid that one of my proudest moments is not only this moment, but when the cops delivered my noise violation to us, that we were a little loud that night. But it's, Newport has been welcoming sailors and seafarers and merchant mariners and Navy for millennium. This beautiful port that we call home is one of the most iconic landfalls in the world. So Newport deserves this race. The race deserves Newport. We've proven over the last two stopovers that we can host the best one that North America's ever had. It wouldn't come back for a third time if the sailors didn't feel that way and the race organizers didn't feel that way. So this was basically the ribbon cutting for our new pier. Governor Raimondo had just cut the ribbon about 10 hours earlier when we opened the village, and then the boats came in. It was a spectacular couple of days.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding in terms of just when an event returns to a location, it works, because there are a lot of locations that this could take place. And of course, Newport's history, really prehistoric role and relationship with the sea, with sailing. And yeah, you put it up, kind of almost a mind reading moment there. Well done. Because I was just going to say, when you look at Newport in conjunction with these other incredible sites around the world, suddenly for a very specific reason, Newport is on the global stage, and it's literally in front of us here as we look at this map.
Yeah, it's great to be aligned with some of the more famous ports in the Whitbread and the Volvo and the Ocean Race history. Those also include Australia, Sydney, Hobart, Melbourne, Auckland, New Zealand, Lisbon, Portugal, ports all over England in the past. But this race is a little different. They've chosen a boat that they don't want to stop as many times. The teams didn't want to stop. The sponsors didn't want to stop as many times. So they limited the total number of ports that the race goes to. It started in Alicante, Spain, on January 15th. Went to Cabo Verde, as I said earlier. Now on to Cape Town. The boats are, I'll show maybe where the boats are right now. And then they do a ridiculously long leg from Cape Town, South Africa, all the way, or basically around the world, to Itajaí in Brazil. The Southern Ocean will be very, very stormy. It's starting to get really lively down there with the weather patterns. And the 5 boats that are in the race are going to have their hands full. And from Brazil, they'll start in later April and get up here in May. They have almost a 3.5-week layover in Brazil because they assume the boats are going to need a lot of work when they come back. Newport, we're expecting the boats in around May 10th, Bill, and then the village itself will have a soft opening as the boats arrive. We'll be able to have people out there seeing the boats, and then the grand opening of the village is on May 13th. And then they leave Newport to go to Denmark, Aarhus in Denmark, on May 21st.
Such a fascinating conversation. You know, it also slides into, and we can just kind of briefly touch on this, the broader concept of the blue economy, which is something that is a major economic driver, in fact, a pillar of Rhode Island's future economic development outlook. What role does sailing play in that? Because you can make an argument that the materials that are used for boat building, the industry itself, from a sporting standpoint, from an ecological standpoint, there's so many aspects to sailing that tie into the blue economy. So just in terms of, you know, crunching numbers in business, the race itself and sailing broadly, how does that factor into Rhode Island's economic picture?
Well, boating itself has a great history of marine trades in this state. You know, from boat building to sail making to mast making, but the blue economy is more than that. The blue economy is obviously it's education, and that's where Sail Newport really hits it as hard as we can in grade school with our 4th grade Pell program, where every 4th grader during their school day comes for an amazing experience learning how to sail and being on the water, and also linking in their standards-based science curriculum. So that's part of the blue economy. Of course, you know, offshore wind is omnipresent now. That's part of the blue economy. That takes composites. That takes people who are working in the industry. You know, Rhode Island has a great history of composite manufacturing. You know, so the blue economy is also sustainability, how we treat our oceans, how we are stewards of the ocean. That part of the blue economy is well represented with our friends at 11th Hour Racing, who's a co-host of the Stopover. And then it's you know, Bill, we've been going to these blue economy workshops. I'm not sure you've heard about these that URI has been putting on, and Sea Grant and
Pete Rumsey.
I couldn't go to yesterday's, but the first one we talked about is, you know, we came up with what is a boat, right? You know, you look at a sailboat and you put it up on a screen for a kid in middle school, which we now have a marine exploration program at Thompson. You know, you put a picture of a sailboat on the screen and we say, what is that? And they say, oh, it's a boat. I said, no, Courtney, who's our educator, says it's got electricity, it's got electronics, it's got plumbing, it's got different elements it's got a diesel engine, and all of those things need workers. People need experts in their fields to work on it. So the blue economy is so far beyond what, you know, we think of boat building, mast making, sail making. It's all the other parts of what makes a boat happen. It's the marinas. It's the historic elements around the bay, like Rose Island Lighthouse and all the different, you know, tourism, ecotourism spots. And of course, again, it's big wind and offshore wind. So we're just proud to be able to use this race to introduce sailing as a sport to people who ordinarily wouldn't think sailing is accessible. And that's what we do on a regular day. Our day job is getting people in boats, right? So what better thing to do for Sail Newport to focus attention on a worldwide sporting event, probably one of the top 3 or 4 properties in sailing, and host it. So we're proud to do that. We're proud to be this little organization that signs this 250-page contract with a multi-billion-dollar race. And but you know, at the same time, those contracts are usually signed by cities or states or countries, but we as Sail Newport feel it's important for the hospitality industry, the blue economy, the service economy, the marine economy, and we think it's good for sailing to have it here.
Brad Reed, Sail Newport's executive director, and of course, stay, I guess, in touch on all of the different aspects of this this visit that's going to take place, projected in early May, and we'll see exactly how that plays out. And I invite all of our listeners and viewers to check out the On the Waterfront page, which appears twice a month in Newport this week. A lot to discover there as well. And hey, this is fundamental to Newport's identity, and it's really great that you were able to score this.
Well, thanks, Bill. I mean, we can't really host a Super Bowl or a World Series game or, a soccer World Cup game. We can do this, and we're getting good at it. The community is good at it. We'll have 600, 700 volunteers, an amazing race village featuring, a family festival, including food and music and all sorts of activities for kids, an exploration zone, very, very, dramatic sailing that'll be out there. The boats actually physically fly around the race course. They have these foils that make the boats go upwards of 40 miles an hour. So there'll be a lot to see, there'll be a lot to do, and we can't wait to continue to share what's coming our way with you and your readers, as we go forward.
All right, we'll see you down there. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.